Eddie Howe is the undisputed transfer king at Newcastle United. So, what does that mean for our summer? Find out right here on Toon Tactics TV, folks.
Oh, brilliant from Schar. And now Murphy could take on the shot. Fabian Schar
All right, all right, all right. Good to see, folks. I hope you are well, no matter what you're doing at this Thursday. Is it Thursday? It is Thursday. Of course it is. It's treating you well, whether you're about to go to sleep or you're about to wake up, go do a shift, or you're doing the dishes or whatever you're doing. You could be doing anything, but you're right here with me. And I appreciate you guys. I hope you're blessed and I hope all is well. I'm really looking forward to tonight's show. I'm going to be talking about kind of segueing from what we talked about in the last show, but in this show we are going to be talking about some of the transfer rumors, adding to obviously um, uh, some of the players that we've been linked to as well. But what I wanted to also kind of give a little bit of a taste, give a background. So I'm going to also kind of talk a bit more in depth about the situation with Paul Mitchell and what that could mean by using an interview, or excuse me, the kind of going through the Simon Jordon on Talksport and what the guys were saying on there about what it could mean for Newcastle United, and then I'm going to dissect a video from Adam Cleary, who used to be at 442, but this is now from his own channel, where he talks about where he does an incredible analysis of Newcastle's season, but also of how well Eddie Howe turned the intensity mags into adaptability mags. And I put all these kind of things together because I feel like it gives us a good foundation for the players that we've been rumored for and what that could mean for Newcastle's transfer window. So I can't wait to kind of share with you, see what you guys are thinking, get you guys' views and opinions. Already I've got folks in the chat. Good to see Adrian Pickett. God bless you, sir. Guehi and Bakayoko. Hopefully, I haven't heard Bakayoko's name in a very long time. Have you heard something, Adrian? Do let me know. Or do you have a preference for Bakayoko instead of, for instance, Mbeumo, who's been the guy that's been coming on a lot lately? As a number one priority for Newcastle United. Do let me know. And folks, do as always like, share, and subscribe. Do let me know. It does help the channel immensely. You guys have been pretty good with that recently. I do a bad job in terms of just reminding folks to like, share, and subscribe. So do like, share, and subscribe. It does help the channel, and which we've been doing quite well actually in terms of views recently. So really good stuff. So I'm not going to go through it. So I'm going to start, like I said, with this talk about this. I don't know if you guys saw this into this conversation between Jim White, Simon Jordon, and I forgot the gentleman's name. It skipped my mind now. You guys remember he played for Liverpool. I can't believe I forgot his name. So annoying. But anyway, they were talking about Paul Mitchell leaving Newcastle. And obviously that sets the tone for everything in terms of our transfer window and what it could mean. They did say some interesting stuff in terms of their, like I said, I'm not going to go through the entire video. I'm going to go towards the end of the video. But the foundation of this conversation is that they talked about, for instance, how Jim White was saying that there was a friction between Eddie Howe when Paul Mitchell said, the transfer window, the transfer strategy we had before wasn't fit for purpose, and we talked about this before. I feel like and Simon Jordon pointed out as well. I feel like the journalists had weaponized that comment and tried to create it as a situation where Paul Mitchell was openly criticizing Eddie Howe and the recruitment team, and Simon Jordon talked about how essentially like when they say when they say fit for purpose, he could mean, and what he's talking about is maybe at the time when Eddie Howe and the recruitment guys got the players they got in, what was the purpose? Maybe the purpose was, we talked about it before, was to get those first team players in, and then get in once we kind of got the team where it needs to go, Champions League, Cup wins, then we were able to use the revenue from that to get squad fillers and stuff like that, which is kind of what we're doing. Obviously, we messed up with the PSR a little bit, and I delayed things. But therefore, it's not fit for purpose now. Like in terms of where we were at the time last year, when we had no money, or we had money but we couldn't spend it, and we couldn't rejuvenate the squad, we couldn't change the squad, so it wasn't fit for purpose. So in hindsight, obviously he's right about that. But I felt like the journalists weaponized that. I agree with that, and we've talked about it on the show as well. And it wasn't fit for purpose. We did an extensive thing where we didn't sell players when the owners first took over, and it hurt us in the long term. Anyway, we got over that now. Water under a bridge, they say. But what they got to in this episode, and I'm gonna kind of get to it I'm gonna kind of share it with you guys here. What they got to at the end of it is talking about how fundamentally perhaps, and it doesn't have to be that fundamentally that Paul Mitchell and Eddie Howe didn't align. It doesn't have to be a situation where they didn't like each other, there was a problem, all these type of things that the media were trying to put. But there's just some fundamentals that where they didn't align. And I'm going to play that clip. I'm going to find the clip where they talked about that. And I thought was very, how they got to that point made a lot of sense. And that's why I agreed to it. So let me make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, looks like you guys can see that. Okay, excelente. So this is where they got the kind of model, they got all through that, they got the foundation of it, and now they kind of got to the point where like, okay, maybe they just didn't align, talking about Paul Mitchell and Eddie Howe. So let me know what you guys think of it. Hopefully you guys can hear it as well.
But if you fundamentally not aligned, it becomes such a wedge between the two. I think you're probably right. If you've been there for a year, that's what I was after. If you've been there for a year and you haven't bought and sold many players, then there is a reason. But whose tool? Who is? So
speaking of Paul Mitchell, you've been there for a year. You haven't bought and sold anybody, because remember, one of the reasons why Paul Mitchell was brought in and his strategy was to kind of buy and sell youngsters and get kind of money that way. Now, I think in his defense, he's had a window, 2 windows, maybe the winter transfer window to do that in, and he didn't quite achieve that. Third transfer window, if you count this one, but I don't necessarily count it. It hasn't even started yet, and he's already leaving, where he hasn't quite achieved that. So therefore, there is a misalignment as to what they're doing. It just doesn't make sense. And maybe it's just worked out where Newcastle are not the club where he can do that. It's not Monaco where he was able to do that.
Who is the sporting director reporting to? Because he isn't reporting to the manager, is he?
He's reporting to the ownership.
Right. So
I think it's no coincidence.
Appointment is he?
It's no coincidence there.
The ownership.
Right. So if you've got a head of HR and people don't like a head of HR, do you sack him because one of your managers in your business doesn't like him?
I know.
So this is really, really interesting. That's the point I got to, and I think it makes a lot of sense. So what he's saying is that he's talking about hierarchy. He's saying, okay, who does Paul Mitchell report to? He's not reporting to Eddie Howe. He's not, obviously, he doesn't have the high. It doesn't make sense for him to report to Eddie Howe, right? Paul Mitchell will report to the owners, and so therefore, if it's been decided that Paul Mitchell was to leave, I know that he said that he's leaving, obviously, but it's kind of sound like he's resigning, even though that word hasn't been used. If he's decided to leave, and but I also think maybe the owners, and I know they said Jamie Rubin kind of maybe fought for him to stay or whatnot, but he's left, and that maybe the owners haven't done enough to keep him, and maybe it doesn't make sense to. The whole point is, if he's decided to leave, the owners have also kind of probably agreed to that as well. And so therefore, it's not an Eddie Howe situation where Eddie Howe kind of fired Paul Mitchell. It's the owners too. So there's a conflict in visions, which we talked about right at the beginning of Paul Mitchell's coming in. There is a conflict in visions as to what Paul Mitchell came to do and what was already happening at Newcastle United. So that's the interest. So he kind of talks about that. So it's not an Eddie Howe thing. It's the owners and Paul Mitchell thing.
The reality of it is that the business himself must have been not happy with Paul Mitchell, and maybe because Eddie's got some extra currency, maybe there was a double.
What I would say,
Yeah, and maybe Eddie Howe has some extra currency. We know that Eddie Howe has a lot of currency because of all the the great players he's brought in, even the players that weren't so great that he's made them great. He's developed them players, even the players that we did have, like Joe Linton already in the squad. He's developed them. Like there isn't even the players that necessarily didn't, your Chris Woods, your Matt Targets, like Chris Wood, he bought him, he got us over the line. We didn't get relegated, and then we sold him for 20-25 million. We got the money back. Even stuff like that. Like there's a machine that's already in Newcastle that's working quite well. And I saw it also on X. I think Sean Casey talked about it, where the triangle between Eddie Howe, Steve Nixon, and Andy Howe. So Eddie Howe gives the template to both Nixon and to his nephew Andy Howe of the type of player that he needs. Andy Howe would look at the data and everything else and kind of go through the data and all the fun stuff data analysts do in searching for those players. Steve Nixon's got the eye test, and he's the one that goes out and looks, and got scouts for himself as well that looks and assesses these players. And so far, it's proved to be very, very effective.
Having met both of them, and I know Eddie pretty well now, a very, very good operator. I know Paul Mitchell from time gone, a very, very good operator.
There's nothing wrong with two really good people.
Strangely, the two
Agreed.
are no longer going to be working shoulder to shoulder. And it'll be interesting to see where Paul Mitchell goes next. And I think this summer we will see something.
It's a bit like if you had Piers Morgan in here every day with Simon. Right, that's not going to work every day.
Do you think
they're both good at what they do?
Do you think Dan Ashworth is a good operator?
That's interesting. Like he's saying, look, sometimes you've got two high caliber people. You'd love to have them in the team, i.e., say you have Mbappe, like Real Madrid got Mbappe and Vinicius Jr., but it's not quite working out how they would like it to work out for the team. So one of them is going to have to go. It's a little bit like Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell, really. So that's the interesting part in it. Simon Jordan makes a comment at the end, just towards the end here, that I didn't quite understand. So let me know what you guys think of it. And it's in regards to Eddie Howe. So I'll leave that with you guys. Let me know what you think.
Because Man United didn't. And other clubs did.
Speaking of Dan Ashworth, so they didn't think Man United didn't think Dan Ashworth was a good operator.
So he now goes from being an operator that built Brighton, that built West Bromwich Albion, that was responsible for the recruitment of Newcastle.
Right.
With respect to Eddie, yes, he's a great operator. How many 75, 80 million pound footballers has Eddie Howe bought over his career? Not many.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't really know the significance of that. Why does Eddie Howe need to bring in 70, 80 million pound players? Like, what's the significance of that? Like, does that say that he's a good scout, or he's not even is a manager? So I don't understand what the significance in that. He brought in obviously our highest player that, in terms of value, has been Isak at 63 million pounds, and look how he's turned out to be. I don't know what you guys think of that last comment. I don't know what it means, but I thought I'd share with you anyway. So that's kind of part of what's laying the foundation in terms of where I think when Newcastle, I just think it just hasn't worked out with Paul Mitchell. Variety of reasons for that. I think there are two, in terms of between him and Eddie Howe, Paul Mitchell and Eddie Howe, they're two first-class operators, and it's turned out to be that there's been a conflict in visions, and they've not fundamentally aligned with what they're doing. So that leads us that's just a step before that leads us into the transfer window itself, where now with Paul Mitchell, he's leaving in June, he's still around, but now there is, speaking of alignment, there is alignment now between Eddie Howe, Steve Nixon, and Andy Howe. Paul Mitchell somewhere in the background, and now the owners. And the owners know that between these three, they're confident in terms of the players that they're going for, they're recruiting for. So when they present them to the owners, it's very much a straightforward thing of, these are the players that we want, please, like, essentially go get them type of thing. So that's the first foundation I want to be able to lay on, like, heading into this transfer window. So got a few guys in the chat. I want to make sure I respond to you guys and see what you guys are saying. Good to see you, Petros Galibus. God bless you, sir. Hi. Can't wait to see what Eddie Howe can do with the money. He likes tested, versatile players. I agree with that, absolutely. Can't wait for 100 million for Mbeumo and Guehi. Yeah, that'll be a good deal actually for the both of them. Sell Wilson and Longstaff for 35 million. We won't be able to sell Wilson. He's out of contract. I'd love to though. Though I think we'll get a Longstaff maybe between 50 and 20 million. Get Rodoni, Kamara, and Garcia. I haven't heard of. Oh, Rodoni's the Coventry player. Do you know if he's any good? Kamara, obviously, we've talked about him before. Garcia, I think we're going to get Trafford, but this Garcia news is blowing up all over Spain. It's just over here we're saying, now we're not going to get him. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out to be as well. So, but yeah, let me know if what do you think of Rodoni? I don't know much about him, so I'll be good to hear some early views from you guys. And yes, and a striker too, Galibus, absolutely. Plus, we have some exciting youngsters coming through. Good time to be a Newcastle supporter. I fully agree with that. After all those painful years under MA and relegation, how away the lads? I absolutely agree with your sentiment there. Absolutely, Galibus. Fantastic chat there. Sophie B, good to see you and God bless you. Hey, Philip, finally caught our live. Work has been crazy. We've been missing you here, Sophie B. I do see you on the terrace sometimes as well, so it's really, really good to see. Fight in the corner for Newcastle as well, but work is work, isn't it? And that takes precedence. But either way, it's fantastic to have you on live here as well. Adrian Pickett, Evening Petras. Okay, you guys are talking amongst yourselves there. Yeah, Sophie Wilson can leave it on the free. Longstaff will get you 20 million max. Yes, I agree with that. Wilson is rumored for 25 million to. That's Willock. That's Willock Petras. Just to let you know, that's Willock. Let me know. Would you guys? I think most of you got Willock for 25 to Fulham. You guys saying yes? I think a lot of you say yes. I think. Yes, Petras. Yeah, Willock. You got it, Willock. Okay. He is out of contract. Wilson is out of contract. Absolutely. Liam knows we had a stock. We had to stock our first team squad. It cost us in the PSR terms. Excuse me. We had to stock our first team squad. It cost us in PSR terms with no real sellable assets. To go again, Howe has done incredible to get us with here where he has. Now it's squad time, signing academies. Yes, absolutely. That's I think that's the strategy. Good to see you, Preach. God bless you, sir. Well, I hope you're good, sir. Hope you are good and great to have you on here as always, sir. Petras, what do you think about the 35 for Willock and Longy? Oh, it's good money. So long as we get good replacements, and I'll be very confident. I'm personally very confident about our ability to get good replacements. So yes, Steve Nixon, yes, exactly, Sophie. Steve Nixon and the PIF will find good players. Absolutely, good to see you guys welcoming each other, welcoming Preach. And on another topic, have you seen new socks? New socks or sacks? New socks, such as nice touch with the magpie on each of them. Or on the socks, maybe a hint towards a new badge. Personally, I'd love a new badge to have magpies in it. Yeah. As long as we win. So long as we win stuff. Do you know what design I like? I like a Champions League trophy on the Newcastle kit. Should we win a Champions League? That's the design I like. You won't see me argue with that. Sophie loves the new kit there as well. Petras. Yes, absolutely. The list has already been drawn up for the window, apparently, with 250 spend. Yeah, and then you got Craig Hope, he was saying more 100 million. I don't think there's a set budget, to be honest with you, Sophie. I think I've kind of gone out on the show. I've said I've changed it every time. Now that we've got to Champions League, I went from 111 million to 130 million. Then I went from then I said Champions League, and where the revenue is up, it could go higher, and it depends on how many players we sell. So it's so difficult to predict. I think though we'll spend anywhere between 130, 180 million, but that would be with sales. We'll probably make between 20 to 30 million worth of sales, in my opinion, if we were to do that. Liam Liam Knowles think Jordon meant top draw. DOF handles 80 million. Yes, that's a better clap. Thank you for that, Liam. Yes, has how. Yes, there is some truth in that. He can identify truths, but going into battle with big fish needs a certain. Yes, thank you for that clarity, Liam. I was wondering what that meant. That makes a lot of sense. Appreciate that for that, Liam. Sophie B is liking Garcia as well. So long as we get a ball playing goalkeeper, I do not mind. So we've got a few more chats, and then I'll move on to Adam Cleary's really great analysis of Newcastle. I have to really commend him for it. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. Petros Galibes regarding Garcia, rumored he's already looking for the apartment. Everybody's Mbeumo's looking. We've got a whole lot of. If anybody's here that's in Newcastle, can you see a bunch of football players? We've got Mbeumo looking for apartments. So long as we get a ball playing goalkeeper, I don't mind. I almost don't mind which one it is. Though I am. We did the shit show. I don't know if you was there, Petros. We compared Trafford, Garcia, and I want to say Kaliba. I forgot the guy's name from Dortmund. So I'm leaning towards Trafford. Sophie B, we have conducted a very good business before. I can't see it being much different in my opinion, but just don't screw us over. Another 3 windows, we need to strengthen. Yes, exactly. We need to do it properly. We need to do it sensibly and properly. Good to see you, Mikey P. God bless you. Big up, Philip. Been waiting for your show. Oh, that's great to hear, sir. Eddie versus Paul question, who would you bring in to replace Willock? They're talking about Kamara, Bangura. I want it to be an offensive style of midfielder. I can't think of a left. So we talked about Ramsey, for instance, Grealish. I know people aren't fond. So, okay, I'd want someone in the profile of a Grealish, someone who's fantastic on the ball, a magnet, draws midfielders to himself, can progress the ball with his passing, key passing, ability to retain the ball, as well as being working hard and recovering the ball and stuff like that. So I'd want someone in that kind of profile, and he's able to receive the ball back to goal, can play in the 6, can be versatile, play across the midfield free. So no, I'm not asking for much, Mikey. I'm not asking for much. So that would be that kind of player I'll be looking for. Wobojo, good to see you and God bless you, sir. All right, so let me. Okay, I'll read a few more chats. I don't want to, and then we'll get in, because I've got a few things I want to talk about. Personally, I really like Craig Hope. Usually agree with his points of view. He's making looks like a nice bloke as well. Petrus, he's not. That's a nice compliment there. Appreciate that. Pedro, exactly, Sophie. Pedro could play on the left. He could play on the left. That's what I think is very interesting if we can get him. But 60 million, let me know, Sophie. For me, I think it's a little bit steep. But I would love to see him in the left 8, and obviously he can be a direct replacement in terms of rotation with Isak. Petros Trafford is good, but his price is inflated now. Garcia seems like a worldie in 2 years' time. Okay, I'll take your word for it. And finally, before we move on, Wobojog, general sense I'm getting on socials, NUFC fans are happy with more responsible power. I find it a bit funny because the same energy wasn't applied to Arteta. I think the difference with Arteta is because you bought £60 million Kai Havertz, and kind of those type of people are not overly. You don't have a striker. And the general feeling is sometimes you buy players and then you then figure out where they should play rather than knowing where they should play. So Declan Rice, for instance, is he a 8? Is he a 6? Now you've got Zubimendi, who's pretty much a very similar profile to Partey. Could you not get something more creative? Can you have a more creative midfield, especially after nearly 800 million spent? So that's why I think with Eddie Howe, who's already been in 2 finals, has won a League Cup final, is now qualified for the Champions League for the 2nd time, all of this in 3.5 years. That's why Eddie Howe gets a lot more, for instance, support from myself and other Toon fans in terms of him being kind of more in charge of the transfer window. So that's my initial thought on that, Wilbur. But great question, though. So as I said, I laid the foundation there with what we're talking about, having TalkSport talking about the whole Paul Mitchell, Eddie Howe thing, and we kind of talked about essentially there just hasn't been the right alignment. Now we are fully aligned and we are fully focused. And what I wanted to kind of before we did that, I wanted to kind of so the next part of that is that's off the pitch. Now what's happened on the pitch? And Adam Cleary from ACFC, his own channel now, which has grown unsurprisingly but rapidly. It's fantastic, and I really, really encourage you guys to see this, to see it for yourself, because I think he did a fantastic job. He essentially analyzed our whole season in terms of what happened for Newcastle in our whole season, how Eddie Howe had to adapt essentially, and what we went through and how our season went through. He, at the end of that, he feels that Eddie Howe is a world-class manager. And I think he's a world-class manager. You know what? And I'm going on the tangent a little bit here, but I did set at the beginning of the season. I think I have shared it with you guys, where a couple of things in terms of where I would want Newcastle, what my expectations for Newcastle were, which was 64 to 68 points. We ended up with 66 points, which is excellent. Semi-finals and finals, quarter-final of FA Cup, and obviously we won the Carabao Cup. Excellent. And we've got Champions League. I've had the best season as a Toon fan. And I think that's a big, big significance to that is Eddie Howe. And with the way with what Mr. Adam Cleary talks about here, in terms of if you guys remember all the trials and tribulations our team went through, Newcastle went through in this season, it shows you we're going to talk about his tactical know-how and everything else. It shows you how he's able to adapt and change and kind of show elite qualities. I'm going to play a clip towards the end, but essentially, and I encourage you guys to watch the show. Adam Cleary talks about how, for instance, so he gives the history. First of all, obviously, our first season under Howe, not the season we overcame relegation, but the season after that, where we finished in the Champions League, we were known obviously as the intensity is our identity, Mags. We know we're very high pressing team. We're one of the best high pressing teams in the league, actually, if you guys would remember. If you remember our turnover rate, for instance, I think we were in the top 2, top 3 for that. So absolutely fantastic. But then the second season came, and you guys will know our injuries were absolutely through the roof. And if you guys don't remember how significant our injuries were, we had one of the highest injuries in the league, and you can see it here. We had 41 separate injuries. That's a bit small here. So we had, I don't know why I made it so small. We had 41 separate injuries. That made us third in the league behind Man United and Chelsea. But in terms of days lost through injuries, we were head and shoulders above everybody else. We lost 1,900 days. We were a full 9 months ahead of the nearest rival to us, which was, I think, Sheffield United. In terms of players lost, that's, partly because we had Botman out of an ACL, Lascelles out of an ACL. So Eddie Howe had to adapt this team significantly. So that was in the second year, and we still managed under the grace of God and Eddie Howe's leadership, really, to finish 7th. The only reason we didn't get into the Europe is because obviously Man United won the FA Cup. And I had this debate with the guys from Spurs Kings yesterday. Big up Spurs Kings and Rival Show, where I was talking to the Tottenham fans. It's great that you won the Europa, and I know that injuries were big parts to why they didn't do so well in the league. But your manager in Ange is showing a complete lack of adaptability, and it's going to hurt you. So Eddie Howe, with all those injuries, we were giving the ball away, adapted the squad, and we still managed to finish 7th. Now, in this third season now, where we had no signings, obviously we know we've had no signings, 3 transfer windows, 18 months, no first-team signings. And then Eddie Howe had to figure out, how do we have better control on games with an aging back line? Combined age of Schar and Burn is about 68, 67. We couldn't press up as high as we did before, so we went from a high pressing to a low block. And so he talked about how two things happened. I'm gonna get to it, where We would play in the low block when we needed to defend, so we would defend in numbers. You guys would have seen it against Chelsea, against Liverpool, for instance, when we played in the League Cup final. But then when we needed to break at high speed on opponents or kind of press as quickly as high up in terms of the opposition, we'll break very, very quickly and press from the front that way as well. But we would pick our moments, we would know when to do it. And sometimes also we'd pick different players when we're pressing sometimes. For instance, you guys would have noticed like Dan Burn, like literally like on the penalty box sometimes, marking certain players, your Cole Palmers at Chelsea and all those others. But also when we're defending, you'll have, for instance, Joe Linton almost coming back as a right, left centre back, for instance, to deal with aerial threats. So we were able to do all these kind of really little tactical things that Eddie Howe put into our squad and that we were doing. That was super, super, super successful in kind of getting our team over the line. It also helped us to manage the workload of the players to the point where we was also able to reduce our injuries from obviously 41 separate injuries to 17 this season. We had 17 separate injuries. That's twice less injuries. And we know obviously James Bunce was a significant part in that as well. I'd love to know more. I'd love to be able to talk to James Bunce and Eddie Howe more about how they kind of connected. We know that James Bunce as well actually staying at Newcastle. We asked the question in our last show on Tuesday, is James Bunce staying? And he is staying, which is, I'm super, super happy about that. But we've gone from 41 injuries to 17, which is highly significant. And what's also interesting about that, in the season, last season when we was in the Champions League as well, we played 51 games. In this season, we played 48 games. So we only played 3 games less compared to last season. Yet our injuries had by more than double reduced. And it shows that Eddie Howe's tactics had significantly helped us and kind of to be able to do that, as well as the other key factor that Adam Cleary talked about was putting Mr. Tonali into that 6th role where he was showing, obviously, that where he showed exceptional ball recovery, passes into the penalty area. Bruno was able to benefit because he was able to play in a more advanced position. So Bruno's in the first 12 games, Bruno had like 1 assist. After Tonali went into the 6, I can't remember what game it was. I think it was Crystal Palace game. When they first started doing that, Bruno's assists went up, his goals went up, and that it played a key part in terms of what we were doing, in terms of goal scoring and everything else. So we became, as Adam said, went from intensity to mags to adaptability mags. And that became our identity. We would sit deep and then would spring up the field and start pressing with intensity. And that helped fix our injuries, that got our goals and assists up. That literally turned our season around. I think we were 12th after 12 games with -1 goal difference. Obviously, we finished now with 66 points and a 21 goal difference. And I don't know about you. I think if Guardiola does that, or if Jurgen Klopp does that, Arne Slot, Arteta, whoever does that, people call that world class. And I think, in my opinion, that's world class. That ability to do that is absolutely world class. And before I read the chats, I want to be able to share with you guys a clip from Adam where he essentially summarizes all the stuff that I talked to you guys. And I'll make sure when I end the show, I'll put it into the description so you guys can see it. But it was absolutely fantastic. And by the way, I want to note that this is like the highest viewed show I've ever had at the moment. We've got nearly 30 people in here. For all the folks that are coming in, and maybe it's the first time you've seen the show, God bless you guys for coming on. Really, really appreciate you guys. I don't often ask it because people will let you know in the chat. I'll keep forgetting to do this, but please do like, share, and subscribe if you guys enjoy the show. I would really, really appreciate it. And but yeah, so let me just show you this video from Adam Cleary. Like I said, ACFC is the channel. He did, because I think also it adds to what we're adding the context of what we're going forward in terms of this transfer window and what Eddie Howe is going to view the transfer window in terms of the players that he wants going forward. So I don't know if you guys remember when we did the season review last week, Thursday. I kind of thought that we were more like pragmatic mags, and maybe pragmatic is another way of saying adaptability mags. We were very, very efficient in what we did. But I feel like Adam Cleary, with what he was saying, took it to another level. And it did remind me that Eddie Howe did an absolutely superb job in understanding the problem that we had and being able to adapt. And I think that was absolutely fantastic for him. So let me just get it onto you guys here. Can you see it? Yes, you can. Okay, so ACFC, the genius way Eddie Howe saved Newcastle's season. So let me he summarizes it towards the end, and I think it makes absolute sense. And so make sure you guys can see it here. Can you guys see it? Aye, you can see it. Here we go. All right, so, and by the way, I don't know if, for folks, if it's the first time you've seen Adam Cleary, he's also, I think he's a Geordie as well. So he's a Newcastle fan, but I think he's a Geordie as well. I don't want to get it wrong. Apologies if it's not, but I think he's definitely a Newcastle fan.
Cross it, not sprinting around after loose balls, not being.
So that's what he's talking about here, the adjustments that we made. This was the Liverpool game here. You see Joe Linton going into that back line as well, supporting, making sure that player, kind of supporting the defense line.
Classically Joe Linton in the middle of the park, just fucking douche. And this newfound flexibility achieves two very important.
So you can see our press. So on the left-hand side of the screen, this is the Arsenal game, right? In the second leg when we were playing them at St. James's Park. You guys remember that great tackle that Schar made, right? He's our centre-back. He's outside their penalty box. This is us pressing Arsenal. This is Schar in Arsenal's penalty box. Right next to it, getting the ball off. I can't remember who that player is. And getting off to Gordon, who obviously scored. So that's the press. On the other hand, though, you can see on the right-hand screen, us defending the low block in numbers. And you guys remember, that's the famous game when we went 5-5, right? We had no four. We went 2-0 up, and we had a line of 5 and a line of 5. And it's this adaptability, it's this tactical changes that got us to win the League Cup final, but also to got us up the league as well.
Important things. Firstly, you can alter your system from game to game depending on the threat posed. But more importantly, the thing it fixes is injuries. Champions League football took an enormous toll on Newcastle last season to the point where they put this 11 out at one stage.
You guys remember that 11?
The injuries and the tiredness and whatnot. But while the fixture congestion was a major problem, so too was the way they played and the way they trained. When your pool of players is...
So yeah, the buffering is going crazy. But essentially, as you guys will know, that you can see the tactical changes that we made. It helped us get us up the league table, and it got our injuries right down. I just thought that was absolutely incredible what was done. And it's just an exceptional summary of our season and what Eddie Howe did. So no surprise that he got the LMA Duncan Awards and Manager of the Year. So with that said, with talking about essentially the realignment that we've had now. Paul Mitchell's out the picture. Now we've got the triangle between Eddie Howe, Steve Nixon. We're fully aligned, where Eddie Howe has the template of the players that he wants. Andy Howe goes to the analysis and data, looking for those players that match that template, and Mr. Nixon does the eye test and goes out there and looks for those players. We know that but also Eddie Howe they're all fully involved in that process the whole way long. It's just some people have different functions, and we know how Eddie Howe is very, very involved in kind of finding out who these players are, the characteristics, and analyze them as well. But it's worked an absolute treat. Then so that's the kind of where we are right now. We're aligned, but also looking at the season that we've just had, where we've gone away from our original identity in that season. We first qualified for the Champions League, intensity mags, pressing up high, absolutely mauling teams, because we had, for instance, Botman in defense, even Schar and obviously Bruno, and that we pushed up that way. But injuries totally wiped us out the following season. We wasn't able to do that. And obviously, and now into this season, where we've got an aging backline, we're not able to press as high. So Eddie Howe adapted everything. We played in the low block when we were out out of possession, and were very intense and going up the field when we were pressed, when we needed to be. And that got us obviously over the line as well. So with ourselves aligned with where we are, I do also think, in terms of that now, I think Eddie Howe would want us to come back to our original form, in my opinion, which is high intensity and pressing up high. Hence why he's looking for a ball-playing goalkeeper, a ball-playing right centre-back, and obviously a goal-scoring right winger, which is where I think the majority of our funding is going to go. So that leads us off quite nicely into what we can expect into the transfer window and the various people that we are being linked to. So let me see. It's got tons of chats here as well. So let me see what you guys are thinking, what you guys are saying. Pedro, 450, definitely too steep in my opinion. I agree. What price would you give? For me personally, I think 35 to 45, but Brighton, I don't see Brighton budging. That'll be my opinion. Sophie B, 50 max. The club will want to sell after the bust up with Van der Berg. Yeah, and the fact that they've got too many players. They need to sell players themselves as well, Brighton. Exactly. Liam Knowles, not sure Arteta signing have given him as much credit as Howe's for us, Jog. Yes. Sophie B. Oh, okay, so you guys talking amongst yourselves there. Or Van der Heck from Brighton. Yeah, that's a good call there, Sophie. Van der Heck, I don't mind him. Petros, guys, who is the last player to get a hat-trick for us? Great question. If anybody knows that. Was it Isak, Sophie? If you guys remember the game, that'd be brilliant. Aaron, my first time seeing you, but God bless you. Great to have you. Aaron Robson, we need to sign Mbeumo. Someone keeps getting in my way here. So we need to sign Mbeumo quickly. Bruno Fernandes' agent has flown out to Saudi Arabia, so it looks like Man U will be going after Mbeumo. Yeah, they'll be talking to him already. I think Mbeumo at this age wants to be able to say he's playing Champions League. Newcastle provide him Champions League. Man United cannot guarantee him. So he's trying to. If he's coming to Man United, it's to rescue Man United. He's coming to Newcastle, is to jump on the train and go into Champions League. So I'm not going to. Obviously, Man United is still Man United as a brand, and that might win over maybe the wages. But if that's what tempts him, then he's probably not the guy that we thought he was, in my opinion. So I'm fairly relaxed personally. We'll see though. We'll see what happens. Van Heck, a very good shout. Yeah, I agree. Oops, sorry. Okay, so press the wrong button there. Any manager should have control over everything. Oh, you guys think they're talking amongst yourselves there. Liam knows other than Rice, it feels like most of our signings are multi-purpose instead of being the best at certain positions. Kai, Jesus, Zin, Calafiore. Yeah, I think people want a lot more for 800 million, I think, essentially, Robojog. Petrus Galibas, do you agree that our season changes with them? Tonali started playing in number 6. Yeah, that's partly it. Tonali going into the 6. Eddie Howe adapting the tactics, low block, them high press, as well as also people really performing really well. And Adam talked about it. Jacob Murphy having an exceptional season. Isak again being consistent, 20 plus goal contribution season. I think up to maybe 30. A GA as well. All those type of things help. Without it, we're not getting over the line. Without any of those things, I'm not getting it. And Dan Burn being absolutely exceptional at the back as well. Liam Knowles, think everyone is assuming power sits with Howe. Scouting remains the same. Howe's influence stays the same. Piff hold the purse strings. They have advisors outside, and that's what I really think. That's the part I really think. I think they have advisors outside the club. I think they have significant advisors outside the club because it's been working for them so far, and they have to, right? Because they make money. They're not footballers though. They're not football experts. Oh gosh, I thought I had way lost in this. I've got tons of chat. Sorry guys, I have to, because I want to. David Vate. Oh, sorry, I missed Mighty Mag here. I'll get to you, David, in a moment. Sorry. I didn't realize I had so many. I thought I nearly came to the end of it, and it wasn't. Sorry, guys. Sophie B, you's getting. No, sorry. Cynical Jim, good to see you, Cynical Jim. First time, I don't know if it's your first time, but God bless you, sir. In Eddie, we trust. Mighty Mag, God bless you, Mighty Mag, good to see you. Sophie, we let a diamond through our hands today with the lap. I don't know if we let him through. I think he made the choice. You know, if he's made the choice, Eddie Howe spoke to the guy personally. Me, I think Mr. Delap's made a mistake. If he's that desperate to go to England and play for the World Cup, ask Tino, ask Cole, ask Gordon. Eddie Howe's the guy. Ask Joe Linton. Eddie Howe's the guy to get you into international teams if you play for Eddie Howe team, in my opinion. So, but we'll see. All the best to him otherwise. David Veitch, I have a feeling Gordon is going to Liverpool and the funds used to bring in Isak, Sweden strike partner Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres transfer talk very low. Mum's the word. Whoa. That's a big call, David. Is that just a feeling, or you said it's a feeling, I suppose? But yeah, if you've got anything more substantive, that would be an interesting call. I'd love to hear if you've got anything more substantive to that. I'm gonna scroll down because I've got a few things I want to talk about as well. But you guys have been absolutely incredible. We've seen so many names here as well. Sophie B, Mighty Mag, Aaron Robson. Register Kev, good to see you, sir. God bless you, Toon. Going to be interesting battle for Mbeumo. Seems like both of us are strongly linked. Yes, we are. You know, let me know what you think will happen. How do you think it'll end up going? Do you think he'll end up going to Man United or to Newcastle? For the Isak hat-trick, 4-0 away. Who did we beat 4-0 away? Who did we smash? Someone, I can't remember who it was. David Veitch, if Colette Roche is our new CEO, it will be interesting as she worked as a Manchester Airport expansion with Barry Miller. PIF are going for percentage investment in Newcastle Airport and long flight runways. Yeah, there's a lot of little things interline, like kind of that interline, that's the word, overlap maybe as well. So it might make sense for them. Aaron Kaempf, and Mbeumo is too perfect, which is my worry. We aren't so simple as a club when it comes to recruitment. I hear you. Let's see what Mbeumo is. Look, we can't do any more for players. We've won a cup. We've got a good team. We've got a great manager. We're in the Champions League. If the guy wants to go to Man United, he wants to go to Man United because it's Man United. If that's what he wants, fair play to him. I've got nothing bad to say about like in that terms of just kind of trying to be objective. He can only be going to Man United because it's Man United in terms of the brand, the club that it is. It's not because it's going Champions League, because there is no Champions League. Or a great manager, because Amorim's got to still prove he's a great manager in the Premier League, in my opinion. So, and he's not going to a great team. Like they finished 15th, so we know it's not a great team. If he wants to make that choice, fair play to him. Just okay, that's why I think it would be a good battle. LOL, Newcastle, very good team for him to go to as well. Hopefully resolved soon. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. You guys are good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while. God bless you, sir. And Mbeumo wants Champions League football. He already said this. So Man United, in my opinion, are out of the question. I certainly hope so. All right, so folks, back to the show. We talked about Paul Mitchell and Simon Jordon, and Simon Jordon talking about Paul Mitchell, and kind of coming to the conclusion that, you know, there's a realignment process, and that's happened now. We talked about it. Eddie Howe, Steve Nixon, Andy Howe. We've got a mixture of data, template given by Eddie Howe for the player. He wants data from Andy Howe, eye test from Steve Nixon, but also them all functioning together. And that's where the alignment really lies. With Paul Mitchell out the picture, we talked about Adam Cleary doing a fantastic review of Newcastle's season. So we've gone from where essentially we've become a really good at adapting through Eddie Howe, through his tactics, Tonali going to the 6, us playing in low block, going high intensity, getting results, and obviously all the achievements that we made today. In my view, with the players that we're looking at, as a result of the players that we're looking at, when I think we're trying to go back to the original Newcastle, the high intensity Newcastle, the Newcastle that is winning the ball, that is playing the most of the game in the opposition half, with also better in possession and on the transitions as well, but especially in possession as well, because you've got ball playing goalkeepers, ball playing centre backs, and obviously an exceptional right wing forward, dynamic right wing forward in Mbeumo here, and obviously we've got this report that originally came from Mr. Craig Hope, but obviously NUFC 360 have also talked about it. Burnley keeper Trafford, and this is from Craig Hope's report. So Burnley keeper James Trafford is our #1 target in the position, and an offer is anticipated. So an offer is due to come. Crystal Palace defender Mark Guehi, as obviously we're going back in for him. I wonder how much we're going to pay for that. Brentford forward Brian Mbeumo are on the list, but so are others in those areas, which is key to remember. So are others in those areas. So it's not just these guys, though. They are the guys that everybody's talking about, and the guys that we've been talking that are most featured on the media. And we've talked about before. We did a review of Trafford. We compared him to Pope, and we talked about how essentially Trafford's key strengths over Pope are in his shot stopping, his clean sheet record, which he achieved at Burnley. I know it's a bit different because Pope's still been paid. Like, Pope's still an exceptional keeper, don't get me wrong. But Trafford is not just a ball playing goalkeeper, but he's a goalkeeper who can save shots, which is important. His penalty saving, his passing accuracy, which is important for us from Trafford, making him a more efficient and reliable goalkeeper in a structured defensive system, which Newcastle are. Although Pope does excel in handling crosses, is absolutely incredible at that. Sweeping, which Trafford isn't bad at as well, and dealing with higher volume of shots, fitting his role in the team that faces more defensive pressure, which we did, because we're obviously playing, when you're playing in low blocks, you are going to face a little bit more shots, less quality shots, but more shots either way. However, I think, like I said, I believe that we'll play some yards a bit high up the pitch, and so maybe the number of shots that we face is going to be less. But these are the strengths that Mr. Trafford has, as well as Guehi. And we compare these key strengths. This is to Fabian Schar, and we talked about essentially how Guehi's key strengths over Schar, for instance, lie in his tackling, his 1v1 defending, which you need when you're a team that's looking to press up high and have have essentially 2, maybe 3 players back. You need, if teams break on you in transitions, you need players that are able to challenge other players that will typically be fast, good dribblers, powerful runners, and you need defenders who are able to match those. So 1v1 defender is exceptional. His blocking, obviously, for playing for Palace, and overall defensive reliability make him more robust and effective defender in direct confrontations. He's also a leader. So is Schar, but Guehi is the captain of Crystal Palace. He's now an FA Cup winning captain with Crystal Palace and led them to their first trophy. So that's incredible. He's obviously grown in estimation. And Eddie Howe's proven right. When we were saying, I think 75 million is high, but when 60, 65 millions were being brought up, 2 years ago, Eddie Howe got proven right the following year. And I think the owners were talking about Paul Mitchell again. When Paul Mitchell was saying 60 million, whatever the price was, whether it's 55, 60 million, 65 million, he was saying it's too high. And Eddie Howe said, get me the player. And the owners chose to listen to Paul Mitchell. Perhaps that's how the conversation went. Guehi stays at Crystal Palace. And Palace, obviously, Parish had his role to play in this as well. He stays at Crystal Palace, has an exceptional year. They finished typically mid-table, but they've won the FA Cup with Mr. Guehi as the captain. Eddie Howe, then you can imagine Eddie Howe is looking at Ramayan's looking at Paul Mitchell, and everyone's like, yeah, we should have brought Guehi. So he was proven right in that. However, obviously Schar excels in interceptions and clearances, ball progression, which I think Mr. Guehi can do as well, and possession security, fitting in his role as a ball-playing defender of combinations and build-up play, which Guehi can also do as well, and I think he'll do more of with Newcastle United. So these are the reasons why I get in these players. Obviously, lately, Mbeumo has been coming up as well. He's a fan favorite. Great analysis from Jake Armstrong, who's, I don't know if you guys have seen on X. He's given a really good analysis on Mbeumo, and I encourage you guys to read it if you haven't done so already. Fantastic analysis on Mbeumo. And we talked about Mbeumo. We talked about Mbeumo's before. We talked about his key strengths as well. Well, where is it? Because I compared him to Tyler Dibling. So I'm going to get to Mbeumo. So we talked about his key strengths, but I encourage you guys to, let me see if I can get, I think I do have it. So let me just bring that up quickly from Jake Armstrong, and just briefly talk about his key strength, because I wanted to match him up with another person, which is, I gave it away there, Tyler Dibling. Because Tyler Dibling, everyone, there's a few in the nose that keep on talking about him, saying, nah, he's the guy that we're really looking for, essentially. So I don't know if you guys have got some quick thoughts on Tyler Dibling. And obviously, it did say in the article with Craig Hopers that Mbeumo isn't the only right-wing forward we're looking for. And I'm wondering if it is Tyler Dibling that we're looking at. But before we talk about Tyler Dibling and compare him to Mbeumo, I wanted to have a quick look at the key. Tell me I've got it on here. I should have on him. I've got Jake Armstrong's review of let me get it here. I'll show it from here. Review of Mbeumo. So we'll quickly get a kind of a really good analysis. Again, I encourage you guys to read it. It's a really good objective view of Mbeumo. Where is it? Here we go. So I'm not going to go into too deep just because of time, but he's a fan favorite for Newcastle United, as we said. And it talks about his key strengths, kind of an overview, obviously, of Bryan Mbeumo, 25-year-old right winger from Cameroon, who stands at 1.71 meters. So he's quite, he's about 5'10", 5'9". In England, is close to 6 years. He has been in England for close to 6 years, so Premier League proven. Eddie Howe loves those. His first season in England was excellent. He provided 16 goals and 8 assists. That's really good in his first season. At 20 years old, the following season, he played a key role in getting Brentford promoted. This talks about his year. So 23-24, he had 10 goal contributions at the start of December, but an ankle injury kept him out in the middle of that race. Now he's coming up to at the back of this season of 27 goal contributions. He's not too far from Isak season, which had him, which is incredible, really. So he's a goal scorer, and we talked about how goal efficient he is. His strengths are his work rate. I think there was a stat that came up that, he was only second behind Bruno Gomes in terms of distance covered. Pressing, which is a big part of what we do. Mbeumo really impressed me with his pressing. He positions himself really well in multiple different pressing instructions. Eddie Howe would absolutely love that. His positive action. So Mbeumo is so positive on and off the ball. He makes lots of movements to get in behind, offering that option to his teammates. Eddie Howe loves players that run and beyond, getting behind. He moves the ball quickly. He will make many first-time passes, volley passes to players over the top and behind. Isak would absolutely love that type of service. Use of his right foot. He's got a good right foot, though. He needs to use it a little bit more often as well. His shooting is pretty good. With the I think he scored 20 goals this season, which is really, really good. He uses his body well when shooting. He can open up his body to indicate he is going to shoot for far post to make the keeper step to the side, which allows him to make more room to the near post. So he kind of is able to make the goalkeeper think that he's going to go one way after far field. Because last time I got nearly copyrighted for going on these screens, but lots of stuff. 1v1s is very good. Ball carrying is excellent. Crossing is excellent. Aerial ability, which for a guy is not overly short, is very, very good as well. So Jay kind of summarizes him. Apologies, I can't play these because last time I did it, the whole show was copyrighted. It's absolutely annoying. Conclusion. So Jake gives his conclusion here. In conclusion, I'll be very happy if we sign Mbeumo. I think he fits our right wing position perfectly. He's near impossible to stop when counter-attacking. His understanding when pressing is good, and he can absolutely lead the press. And he talks about a little bit further down. He goes, Mbeumo is a great ball striker and has been consistently. His great shooting technique, which is important for us. We want to improve his output is very, very good as well. It talks about it here. The one couple concerns he had is that sometimes Mbeumo is loose with his touches and in his dribbling and can give the ball away. Sometimes he's too positive with the ball and give the ball away as well. But you have to take those risks when you're kind of playing with, when you have players like that as well. But we need players like that. That's the main thing. So, that's Mbeumo. That's Mbeumo, and we're just, we're battling it out with Man United to be able to get him over the line. Let me know what you guys think of all of that, of the players that we're linked to. And like I said, we're going to talk about Tyler Dibling in a moment, and I'm going to match him up to Mbeumo because I do like Tyler Dibling as well. But before I get into that, let me see what you guys are saying in the chats. By the way, you guys have been fantastic in the chats. It's absolutely blowing up. And if there's any new guys that have come in, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm doing better with the like, share, and subscribe today. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe. Liam, let me get a water quickly. All right. Can't say Sal sacked, right time for Tomori bid. Oh, I didn't realize that. Great. Possibly. I'm not. We did a review of him before. I know he's got his strengths. I'm not totally sold on Tomori. Cynical Jim. If Mbeumo goes to Man United, he's an idiot. They just ruin players' careers these days. Oh, it was Ipswich. And you know what? Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to go as far as to call him an idiot, but I think it won't be a smart decision. It'll not be a good decision in my opinion. Sophie B, it was Ipswich falling away for the Isak hat-trick. Well remembered, Sophie. That was a great game. Aaron Kane and Mbeumo is a better fit for us as he will be playing in his primary position at Man U. In primary position at Man U, he will be a right 10. Sorry, I missed that. Right 10 plus they are mudded and known for ruining. All of that on top. Exactly. I'm at the point of all due respect to any great club, man, anybody there. I think Newcastle are doing well. If you want to play Champions League, play for a cup-winning team and a great team and a great manager, I don't see why it's difficult. Petras, guys, would you sell Gordon for 80 mil? I think he fits Eddie Howe tactics really well. I wouldn't sell him. Would be the player going in. So I wouldn't sell Gordon. I would, but here's I have to give a multi-layered question, the answer to this question. I would not want to sell Gordon. I want to keep all of our best players, and he is one of our best players. If we were to sell Gordon, and whether it's 80 mil or more or less, I would be more interested into who we're getting to replace him. So if we sold Gordon to get, I can't think of a great left wing forward at the moment. If we can, essentially a better left wing forward, there aren't too many, and fine. Or another player in another position that's excellent, okay. But I would not want to sell Gordon. And as long as Gordon especially wants to stay and be at Newcastle and achieve at Newcastle, I wouldn't personally want to sell him. It would have to be a very unique group of players with essentially elite ceiling raisers, which I think Gordon is, to make me want to do that. And you'd also have to make financial sense as well. And I'd have to see an overall improvement in our play, or believe that there'll be an overall improvement in our play for that to happen. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. That'll be my answer. We lost out on our number one keeper, Manashvili. I don't mind. I don't even know if he was our number one keeper, to be honest, Matty Mag. I don't mind that we lost out to him. I don't think he's a great shot stopper. He's not that great with his feet. We need the ball playing goalkeeper, in my opinion. Though people lose out, the better we get, the better in terms of as a club, as a team, the more we will attract our first team, our first choice of players as well. Excuse me. I'm so confused about the goalkeeper situation, as Garcia has been heavily linked, especially in Spain. So Spain media outlets have been pushing hard. His agent has been going after Richter Scale. has been linked, and Trafford is our number one target. Hope we just get our business done early, as other teams are already acting. Yeah, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United. I've got Cunha over the line. A lot of early business has been done. Adrian, you're tempted. Let me know, Adrian, who would you buy in his stead? It doesn't have to be a left wing forward. Or maybe it might be a couple players. Mighty Mag, Jimmy. Okay, guys, talking amongst yourselves there. David Veitch, we must move to a ball-playing goalkeeper, goalkeeper, and why we also want Guehi to manage the ball through progression. Exactly. That's going to be absolutely imperative for us to be able to do that. We're not going to be spending another season defending in low blocks. We're not going to do that. Get Garcia as a number. So Sophie B, get Garcia as number 1 and Trafford number 2. Oh, wow, that would be to develop as in cup games, etc. And sell the other 10 we have, or whatever. Huzar and Mbeumo, loves this club. Look what he has done for us. He scored twice. Mbeumo? I'll have to remember what games that is. Aaron Kane, Sophie, what has Mark Gillespie done to you? You guys got jokes. Mighty Mag doing a deal for Mamashashvili and Anthony Gordon. The keeper has a long career ahead. Doing a deal for Anthony Gordon. I must be interrupting the conversation there. Sophie B, I don't want no Dibling for our right wing. Sorry, Sophie. I'm going to talk about him though, which is a great segue, by the way. Oh, and Liam knows as well. Stuff that he got homesick going to Chelsea from Southampton. They did. That's a very good point. He was 16 years old, and he came on as a sub. When he went to Chelsea, he came in as a top sub twice for Chelsea and decided I don't want this one to go back to Southampton, where he was playing more regularly. And I wouldn't want the same situation here, but I'm going to forgive him because he was 16 years old. But I know you're joking. Liam knows Dibling, we need next level now rather than overpaying for Ready in a couple of years. Let Spurs. Yeah, okay. Some good early opinions there. I'm not too far from your view. Adrian Pickett, not sure Mamashashvili counts as a ball-playing goal. He doesn't. That's why I don't want him, to be honest. I know he's very good at shot stopping, but we really need a ball-playing goalkeeper. Dibling screams off a Cole Palm. Aaron Kane, you're my guy. That's where I'm heading to. Aaron. It's like you know me so well. Dibling screams off a Cole Palmer kind of signing. Yes, he does. Said it before because he's got the arrogance and potential and the profile exactly to be a real top player. How I can beat that out of him. But my issue is we need proven, and that's where the key tension is that we need a proven player, i.e. Mbeumo, or we've got the ceiling raising, because I do think Dibling has a higher ceiling than Mbeumo, but we'll get to that. It's like you read my mind, Aaron. Luca talks ball. Good to see you, sir. God bless you. Hi, you okay? Living life to the full, sir. Living life to the full. We've got a record number of people in. It's absolutely phenomenal here. Really good to have you guys so late on here with me. Please do remember to like. I'm so good at this today. Please do remember to like, share, and subscribe, folks. That'll be absolutely phenomenal. Let me get to the end, towards the end of the chat, and then I'm going to talk about Dibling. I'm very curious to see what I see. Bobby Fairview here as well. I'll be very curious to see what he thinks between Dibling and Mbeumo, what he thinks of him as well. Because Dibling went to Chelsea. In fact, Bobby, if you know why, we know that Dibling left after 2 games at Chelsea at 16 years old. But if you have any insights to what was a key reason why he left, I'll be very curious to know. Aaron Kane, Mbeumo would be a good signing, out to caveat that we don't know how he's like in tight spaces. Yeah, and playing against low blocks, Brentford always play at the counter. That's my main concern. Big up, Philip. Good to see you, Bobby Fairview. I think that's the most likes I've seen. Well done, bro. Yeah, thank you, sir. Guys, super. I can't see the likes, but super well done to you guys. Really, really appreciate it. Good to see you, Bobby. Good to see you. Did I miss Sophie? I think I missed Sophie's chat. scroll up, and then we'll. Was it Sophie? I missed somebody. Oh no, you're just saying hello, Bobby. Cynical Jim. No to selling Gordon. We need 2 good players for each position. It costs more than 80 million to get a better replace. I agree. It'll be very, very it'll be very, very difficult to do it. Josh Tsunami, cheers, Philip. Hope you are well and living life to the full, sir. Good to see you, and good to see you. Wilbur Jog, I don't get the reaction to Mbeumo to Manchester United. I'm not. There's only one United on this channel. It's Newcastle. How are they supposed to improve the climb up the table? Also, United have Newcastle United, Man United have the financial means to be. You could try to catch me out here, Wilbur Jog. Have a short time in dumps compared to most clubs. He needs to look. Mbeumo has a very clear choice, Jog. Like it really is. It really is. Like it's a very clear choice, guys. Like I totally understand why he'd go to Manchester United in terms of like as a brand, global club, all of that. But for all the reasons I've already named, great manager, great team, Champions League qualified, a right wing position that's open for you. I don't know what else. I don't know what else we can do. 31 watching, 30 likes. Oh, that's incredible, guys! Big up to yourselves. Absolutely well. Sophie B there said 31 likes and 31 watching and 31 likes. You guys have absolutely smashed it. David Veitch, dibbling in the winter window possibly. Good call. Good, very strategic there. And lastly, Petrus. Mbeumo for me, 100%. We need to win here. Okay, Mbeumo over and Dibling. Now PSR issues. Good proven players are the way at this point for player development. We have academy and Worthy will train with the first team. Yeah, exactly. Got a couple more there. Aaron Kane, can we just buy Mbeumo and do a loan to buy later? That'll be a great deal for Dibling. Chuck in the long staff to sweeten the deal. I'm sure they'll put that across for him. Robert Job, Dibling for me. Arsenal taught me patience. Right. So speaking of Dibling, now I've got the comparisons between Dibling and Mbeumo, but I wanted to give a little bit of background on Mr. Dibling, and there was a scouting report from TFO I wanted to share with you guys. I'm not going to, it's pretty brief and it's pretty good, but he asked the question because when he was going for 100 million. So make sure you guys can see it, because sometimes I forget and you guys can't see it. You can see it. Because at the time when that ridiculous figure came for 100 million for him, he asked the question, is he worth 100 million? So Tyler Dibling, already a 100 million player or a prospect who would benefit from a season in the championship? So that's the question. Is he a 100 million player already, or is he someone that would benefit from a season in the championship? Okay, so and it's written. It was done in April, so only last month. So very, very new. It's a very, very recent report by Ryan Benson. So it took Tyler Dibling less than 7 minutes. So that's when Tyler scored his opening goal. He's 18 years old. Then 18-year-old relatively. You know, if you guys saw the goal he scored against Man United, where he kind of went past Matteo Dalot. Was it Dalot? No, did he score against Man United? I forgot who he scored against. But anyway, the then 18-year-old relatively nonchalantly moved towards Matteo Fernandez, passed inside his own half. But as the ball arrived to his left foot, he let it run before suddenly dashing it after it. Yeah, that's it. It was Manchester United. Dalot took the bait and Dibling was away. That was fantastic. So let me go scroll down a little bit. He gave Dalot that day the run around. I saw that game afternoon. I'm sure, I can't remember if Register Kev is here, but he would remember that game. He done really, really well. Where is it? Ended up turning Cameron Archer. We've got Mr. was very. So this is him talking about the game. I was very nervous before. It was against Manchester United as well. I felt like I was on the journey on FIFA. He's so young, 18 years old. Okay, so A couple of months later, then Southampton bought Russell Martin. Literally laughs at the idea that, so it's about his price here. Where is it? Where is it? They talk about the latest stories. We'll comment on a hefty fee. So either way, Dibling will command a hefty fee if he leaves in the summer, with his technical talents undoubtedly making him a very interesting proposition. And we'll talk about that in terms of his technical talents. And there will be plenty of coaches convinced they can take him to another level, like Eddie Howe. There's a solid foundation of a player there already, of course. His ability on the ball is exceptional. He really is. Coupled with his obvious confidence and bravery, ensure he has a lot going for him as a wide player. So he's such a calm. I don't know who this is quoting from, but it says, from the manager, Russell Martin at the time. He's such a calm and confident boy in the nicest way. As long as he maintains his sense of self, his character, and his personality, and that's up to us to help him do that along with his family, then I've got no worries about him. So there's the key. Him and his family. We don't want him leaving after 2 games as he did at Chelsea, for instance. So Dibling's clearest strengths lie in his ball carrying. He's got like almost Jack Grealish type of strength, ability on the ball. Blessed with impressive close control, courage on the ball, and agility that belies a fairly languid on-pitch manner. He's a threat both in tight spaces and with acres to run into. So it kind of answers your question earlier. I don't know, Aaron, if you're still here, for any folks that are wondering, he's very good in tight spaces, which we don't really know if Mbeumo is. As such, Dibling tends to carry the ball over much longer distances than many other players because of his ability on the ball. For instance, this season, the average distance of his ball carrying is 13.5 meters among the 42 wingers who've played at least 900 minutes in the Premier League. Only 3 rank higher than him. So he's 4th in the league for carrying distance on the ball. Like at 18 years old, it's very, very hard to ignore a talent like that. And this is where obviously he plays on the right wing. That shows the arrows where he's able to carry it. Really, you can do any parts of the pitch, but he's situated on the right wing centrally as well. And obviously he's able to drop in as well. But centrally here, and this is what Eddie Howe really, 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 really loves. A carry. And a carry is defined by a player being able to push it over 5 meters. So all of these carries is him pushing it over 5 meters. So similarly, he carries the ball 206.4 meters on per 90-minute basis. So that's a lot, which is the 7th furthest among the same group of players. At 18, guys. Of course, carries as a metric in isolation can be somewhat misleading and simply moving forward. Yeah, that's true. But Dibling carries frequently. He engages defenders, which not only paints a positive picture of his daring nature, but also highlights his desire to take responsibility. So among the same group of wingers, right wing forwards, as mentioned before, he ranks 3rd on per 90 basis of carries, with a take on of 3.1, so 3 carries per game, only behind Mohamed Kudus and at West Ham, 3.2, and Jeremy Doku at Man City. So at 6.7. So he's in good. So not only is he happy to take possession, but his attitude is coupled with his ability to evade those who try to stop him. In fact, he's already more comfortable than most in his respect, as he's recorded 14 instances of beating multiple opponents in a single carry. Sheesh. Which again, only Kudos of 17 and Doku of 18 can better. He's in the age where everybody's complaining, he's a maverick. So in the age where everybody's complaining we don't have enough mavericks, Mr. Dibling is a maverick. And it cannot be said that it doesn't offer progression or desire to get into dangerous positions into those scenarios. He really loves to get into dangerous positions. So a long progressive carry in a defined is defined as, already talked about that. But this is, you can see him here, always trying to get into dangerous zones. So, for example, we've already highlighted his carries combined with take-ons and how he ranks in high terms of frequency. But beyond that, those forays see him progress the ball by 9.1 meters on average. That's roughly the same as Matoma, and only Ndiaye from Everton and Marcus Rashford among the same wing who are able to do it more than him at this stage. And only and on top of that, 4 wingers all from who play for established big clubs in Manchester City and Liverpool have recorded more take-ons on that drive possession into the box. So while he's playing at Southampton, he's progressing numbers that are challenging those that are in that are winning all that are obviously in the upper echelons. So this shows obviously where his take-ons are. The 40 show where he's where is it? He's winning. He's getting past players. The 64 that he's lost. So sometimes those are in a bit dangerous positions in his own half. Again, he's playing for Southampton though. So his success rate is 38.5%, which is not bad. So there is a perception among some fans, however, that Dibling's output has diminished somewhat over the past few months. In his first 13 Premier League appearances of the season, he averaged 3.7 dribbles, ending in dribbles of 0.76 shot ending carries. So nearly a shot per dribble, and 3.5 progressive carries, at least over 10 meters in most. So they're thinking that it's gone down a little bit. That doesn't automatically mean that he's playing poorly, but that declines do coincide with more questions about him and his form and his effectiveness. And it doesn't help that he hasn't scored since September. He plays for Southampton. I have to keep on saying that. I think that's a big thing, but fine. So his assists isn't. He's got 0. I think Dibling's has got 0 assists at the moment. Is somewhat mirrored by his what might feel as underwhelming. His total open play chances created is also very low. So assists, open play chances are very low, and of those credited, despite technically being a miss. So there are 31 nominal wingers, wide forwards in the Premier League this season who laid on more chances to teammates than Dibling, and nearly half of them have played fewer minutes. So that's interesting. So yes, he's very good at take-ons, very good at carries, he's very good at getting into dangerous positions and tight places, but his output in terms of assists, chance creation is not great. So as it says here, of course, you have to remember that he's playing the worst team in the division, and that obviously has an impact. So what would Dibling be like if he's playing next to Isak and Gordon, and Bruno Gomes is behind him, Tonali's behind him, telling him where to go, what to do? What would that look like? But his minimal creative output isn't just indicative of his generally lower quality of his teammates. So hold on, let me see what it says. What is that? Open play only, Dibling. So obviously coming in from the right side, getting into the penalty box. What do they say here? 0 assists, obviously. Chances created, obviously from the right. So his expected assists as a metric measures the total of shot, and that measures the XG, total shots taken following chance creation. Dibling has 1.25 expected assists in open play. That means an average of XG value of the chances laid on has been 0.8, which is the 5th lowest. So even the expected is pretty low. He needs to improve that. So essentially, the most part, the passes he plays for teammates get a shot. So essentially, for the most part, the passes he plays before a teammate gets a shot away aren't being played into very dangerous positions. So why isn't that happening? So is that something that Eddie Howe can improve? Yes, he's 18 years old. I think he can do that. So it kind of delves into that a little bit more, but there is parts that he can improve. Nevertheless, so when he's at Premier League level 2, he did lay on 2.4 open play chances per 90-minute basis. So when he was playing at lower level, Premier League 2, against people more towards his age, 21s, obviously he was still young, he was doing better. So this year has been a baptism of fire for him, to be honest, which was better by only 5 players who played 400 minutes. So that should offer some encouragement. Similarly, he's shown he's in afraid to have a crack at goal, so he's able to take shots as well. So he's doing a lot better at shooting and creating chances for others when he's playing in Premier League 2. So essentially, the article ends in saying that he would benefit from another year in the Championship. So it talks about some Premier League clubs may be able to offer an effective development environment, Newcastle United, but opting for stability and dropping down a division might ultimately be the smartest move, according to this article. The Championship has been very rewarding proving ground for players. So while there's never been a guarantee to right answer to these scenarios, Dibling of all people should recognise the value and stability. Right now, he's a talented player of a significant potential, but still has a lot of room for improvement. So what do you guys think of that? That's quite a long article there, but it gives you some opportunity to think about, to kind of assess. The article thinks that he'll benefit, that Dibling would benefit from being in the Championship and staying at Southampton. I've matched his stats to Mbeumo, and we talked as well a little bit more about the type of players that they are as well. And as Aaron Cave talked about earlier as well, I think Dibling, in my personal opinion, I think Dibling fits more, will end up being fitting the profile of a Cole Palmer type of player, in my opinion. And whether that's something that's worth waiting for is another question entirely. So let's see what you guys are saying in the chats. What's you guys' thoughts about? I'm going to match them up in a moment. I've got the screen up, but let me just see quickly what you guys are saying in the chats. David Veitch, Dibling is a brilliant prospect, but Mbeumo is there right now. We need to qualify. That's where it is. Hit the likes, guys. That's the tension, isn't it, David? So some people obviously kind of want a win now player in Mbeumo, which is the thing, isn't it? Mighty Mag, hit the likes, guys. You've been thank you, Mighty Mag, and God bless you, sir. Guys, you've been absolutely amazing hitting the likes. Please do continue hitting them as well. Petras, for me, looks like Dibling is Paul Mitchell's type of signing, and Mbeumo is Eddie Howe's. I think Dibling is Eddie Howe's type. I think both of them are Eddie Howe's type of signing, in my opinion. I think Eddie Howe loves a Dibling type of player. Manu destroys players. David Bates says, let's see what the folks are saying. Where are we? Aaron, let's see what. Oh, Sophie B, sorry. Dibling is worth like 25 to 30 million max. I agree. Though I think they're looking for about 40, 45. So that's where the rubber hits the road, isn't it? If we're buying Dibling for 40, 45 million instead of Mbeumo, that's where the risk is, isn't it? That's a huge risk. Right. Aaron Cave, Dibling, in my opinion, is better in tight spaces than Mbeumo and is a ceiling raiser long term. I can't see Murphy replicating the season's form, though. If Dibling comes in, it takes a season to bet. Yeah, it does. Look at Hall, look at Livramento. We would have to improve in another area of the pitch significantly for that to make sense, in my opinion. Our Adrian Pickett, we need a lot picker. We do indeed. Jam Stasher, you've gone for Tyler Dibling. Fair play. David Veitch, how is the best coach in our aisles? Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. 4 in the league because Southampton were camped in their box most of the time, and he had to run with the ball on the counter. Yeah, he had to. Do you remember when we were under Steve Bruce and Maximan had to do that? I think except for with Dibling, he's had to do that, but he's 18 years old. You guys talking amongst yourselves there. Let me see. Aaron Kemp, that's true. To be fair, still was raw when we signed him. Attributes are there for Dibling, but I'd honestly take any one of the options to be a right. Also, I must have missed something. That's talking amongst ourselves there. Sophie B, I'm not saying Dibling won't be good, but I think we need the proven product. We are going into a Champions League season. If we got him start off season, just gone then fair. Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing about PSR, isn't it? We missed out on players like that. David Veitch, if we could spend beyond our immediate needs, Dibling would be right up there. Yeah, exactly. I would agree. Few people are saying that. Adnan, good to see you, sir. God bless you. Adnan, sign players first. Oh, I missed something there. I think I was talking myself. Aaron Kane, Dibling would definitely be a signing for future. Would take a year to bed in, but with how coaching, there's another £80 million player. Problem is, though, we need a proven end product. Yeah, exactly. Or does Howe back himself to get the end product in this year? He can't. I don't know if he can. I don't know. That'd be a big question. Adnan Ali, Dibling is shy. Seen him play, can't take one player. Okay, so Adnan doesn't rate him. Fair play. Thank you for letting us know, Adnan. Liam knows 6 million 2 years ago for the academy, maybe, but for silly money, there are gems out there. Need to stop Chelsea buying all the Brazilian prospects. I agree. Dibling worth 80. Isak is worth more than Newcastle. Oh, okay, yeah. Problem is Palmer was sick at City, but Baldy didn't like. Oh, talking about Guardiola. Take care, mighty man. God bless you, sir. Great to have you on as always. You've been absolutely superb getting people to hit the like button. Really, really appreciate you, sir. Sire Robson, don't know if it's your first time, but God bless you. Welcome to the channel. I prefer Dibling as we wouldn't lose him to the African Cup of Nations in January and February. I see what you're saying, but I think overall, players going to the African Cup of Nations, whether it's Salah for Liverpool, for instance, Mahrez for Man City, it hasn't had the detrimental effect that people have always talked about. But I see where you're coming from. So I would still, whether a player plays for African nations or whatnot, I'll still get them. So let me do a direct comparison between Mr. Mbeumo and Tyler Dibling. So player profiles, obviously Mbeumo is 25 years old, Cameroonian international, winger and forward, playing for Brentford. Known for his versatility, often deployed on the right wing, as Dibling is. He has 90 appearances so far, with 20.9 goals per 90 minutes. Obviously, this goal, not 90 appearances. It must be, I got that wrong. But he's got 20.9 goals per, it's not 29 goals per minute. Appearances with 20.9 goals. No, so 20 goals this season. I don't know what I wrote there. Tyler Dibling, 18 years old, English midfielder stroke winger, playing in Southampton Premier League. He's a youth prospect with 20 appearances this season, primarily as a winger or attacking midfielder with 2.GA. So he's got 2 goals this season. A type of dribbler. So I wanted to emphasize that. And so Mbeumo is a progressive dribbler, focusing on advancing play with 3.3 progressive carries per 90 and 1.83 carries into the final third. His heat map shows that he's very active on the right flank, often cutting inside or driving towards the penalty area. Dibling does a similar thing. Dibling, though, is a creative dribbler with 5.52 successful take-ons. Remember, he's very, very high on that per 90 and 4.42 carries into the final third. His heat map indicates activity across the right wing and central areas. So he can play in central areas as well. And that's the key there, suggesting that he drifts to create space and link play. So I wonder if Eddie Howe might have a slightly... Remember, part of the thing that Newcastle need to improve on is their offensive impact from the midfield. And a Dibling can do that for you. So some versatility there. So attacking output, obviously, Mbeumo just absolutely crushes Dibling on attacking output. Dribbling and progression, Dibling is, though, more effective in beating defenders. And that's why I think we're looking at him. 5.5, so successful per 90, so 5.52 versus Mbeumo's 3.3, and has more progressive carries, 5.52 again to Tyler Dibling to 3.3. Oh, sorry, I repeated the same one compared to Mbeumo. So nearly twice as much as Mbeumo. However, is better at however, Mbeumo is better at progressive passing. And we talked about that. Dibling needs to improve at that. Mbeumo is also better in his defensive contributions as well. He has more tackling, interceptions than Dibling. fitting the high pressing style of Brentford. So that's where Dibling has to improve that if he's going to play for Newcastle. So if you look at it in the context of the teams, Brentford has a counter-attacking style which suits Mbeumo's directness, while Southampton have a possession-based approach. Dibling has 47 touches typically per match, whereas Mbeumo has 37. So it allows Dibling to showcase his creativity but limits his goal-scoring opportunity. So hence why maybe the output is a little bit different. For us, obviously, like I said, I think we're going to... Let me get water. We're going to be... I need water. I think we're going to return to a more intensive team, playing high up the field, and therefore we're going to need players that can beat their man, essentially, where Dibling really suits that. But let's see. So Dibling also plays for England as well, under 21s. So impact on Newcastle United, goal efficiency and offensive from a kind of so I looked at it. I wanted to know how they impact us from a goal efficiency and offensive midfield impact. So Mbeumo would significantly boost Newcastle's goal efficiency. He scored a lot of goals. His ability to play as a winger or forward, obviously, he can even rotate with Isak. And his heat map shows he'd thrive in Newcastle's attacking third. Absolutely, plug and play, really. He's delivering direct goals, contributions, and he's got a defensive work rate, really good for us. Aligns with our pressing needs. Dibling, though, would enhance Newcastle's midfield creativity with 5.5 successful take-ons and 0.75 I forgot what that one means, but it's something. His heat map indicated he'd add flair in central areas, which we need, improving link-up play and chance creation, which is important for us. However, his low goal output means he'd need support to directly improve goal efficiency. So Mbeumo, fit for Newcastle, Mbeumo is the better fit in terms of like immediate fit for Newcastle. And a lot of you guys have been saying that. Offering a proven goal scoring and offensive impact. Dibling, though, while promising, would be a long-term investment, adding creativity, but needs more time to finish. So Mbeumo, direct scoring dribbler, who'd improve our attack, while Dibling is a creative, progressive dribbler who would enhance our midfield flair, but needs development. And I think he would help us in our against midfield blocks. So we need goals, and Mbeumo would help with that. Dibling's potential could complement more established attacks in the future. So essentially, we're kind of talking about win now, and we're talking about the future when we're discussing these. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. I think, though, if Dibling is probably going to, if we don't get Dibling and go for Mbeumo, we will be talking about Dibling next season going to, probably smash up the championship, really, and costing a lot of money. But I think he fits really much a Cole Palmer type of profile with his ability in the ball. I understand when we're looking at him. But let me know what would you guys think if tomorrow you heard Newcastle withdrew from looking at Mbeumo and actually put that money into Dibling. What would you guys think that? And they say he ends up being our number one target. What would that mean to you guys in terms of like what our transfer strategy is and how the squad is going to develop? I think it means they're placing a lot of faith in Dibling and taking a risk, huge risk, in my opinion. So let me see what you guys in the chat. Again, really active in the chat. Cy Robson, excuse me. I prefer Dibling as we wouldn't lose him to the African. Oh, I think I read that. Aaron Kane. Oh, you guys talking about yourselves there. TCMM. I don't know what that means, Jamstash. Let me know. Sophie B, you play 4 or 5 games in January in African nations. Is is on, so you can use Jacob Murphy or Harvey Barnes. Exactly. While Mbeumo would be gone. Yeah, it's simple. Thanks for that. So I totally forgot about that. Great solution. Sophie B, Mbeumo plays striker as well. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, so Sophie B is very much on Mbeumo. And then Ali, what about Boniface or Semenyo? Boniface has got incredible injury record. It's crazy. I wouldn't want that. Semenyo is an interesting one. I don't know how many teams are in for him, truly. I question a little bit Semenyo's technical. I don't think he's as good technically as Mbeumo or even Dibling. He's in terms of maybe close control and dribbling. But again, if there's stats to say otherwise, I'm just looking at it from an eye test type of point of view. Right, Aaron Kane, I'm hoping Sanusi gets drafted into the first team for cup games and plays more towards the end. I hope so too. I want to see our academy players be bedded into the first team. Well, yes, I absolutely. And like for instance, Alex Murphy is going to come back from Bolton. Is he going to be rotating with Lewis Hall? Lewis Hall needs a lot of rotation. Not a lot of rotation, but he needs rotation. Like, we want to avoid more ankle injuries and stuff like that. Adrian Pickett wouldn't mind Semenyo. Fair play. Marlon, I can't pronounce your surname, so apologies. If it's your first time here, God bless you. Welcome to the channel. And folks, for anybody new folks coming in, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Marlon, Dibling, former Chelsea Academy. Well, 2 games. He played 2 games as a sub. And then he left. Newcastle could have 3 former Chelsea Academy players. Yeah, technically he is. That is true. No, I don't know if Dibling will even remember that. Adnan Sanusi needs to attack and win free kicks and score. Players like McAtee don't have physicality either. There is room for improvement for Sanusi. I agree, Adnan. Sophie B, if we sign Dibling over Mbeumo, that is not good. We need players, not projects. That's so interesting that you say that, Sophie, because I do hear a lot of fans, especially of kind of teams that are similar to our position, but even higher in terms of, trying to win the league and stuff. Maybe because with Dibling, I can see a real prospect there. I'm hesitating to kind of just say, I'm absolutely Mbeumo. In an ideal world, I want both of them, but there's a player in there, and we do have Jacob Murphy still to continue that line. But again, if you are Bruno Gomes and others who are asking for players and you're asking for help, and you see an 18-year-old on the bench when you could have had an established player in Mbeumo, you might have an issue with that. So it's an interesting one. But definitely, I see where you're coming with that. Sam Robson, Dibling would be a good understudy to Murphy for his first season. The pair could share the workload evenly. Literally just said that. Yeah, like that's my kind of thought on it. It's a risk. It is a risk, but I wouldn't. It might be a weird risk worth taking. Cynical Jim, I'd be calling for Eddie's head if we went for Dibling over Mbeumo. Fair play. I get where you guys are coming from. Hussar, to be honest, I would have either player. Okay, interesting. I don't have an opinion. I like both. They both bring something unique. Fair play. That's they do, isn't it? Like it's sometimes you can't choose, and you're like, I'll be happy with either. Fair play. Cynical Jim, I've read that, haven't I? Yeah, I did. Sophie B, Dibling is like 2-3 years away. We need players that are ready to improve the team. Seem to improve the team. Yeah, like plug and play, really. Get started straight away, isn't it? And then Ali, if we sign Dibling, it's another Flash Gordon and not an Elise type play. It would be a mental signing. What do you mean by that? In terms of do you mean? I think he's less of a Gordon, more of a Palmer, Grealish profile type of player, in my opinion. Jam Stasher, I would prefer Mbeumo. If Dibling can play in midfield, which he can, perhaps he would be an option of if other midfielders are too expensive. Maybe we get Dibling and Mbeumo. Dibling plays in midfield. Happy medium there, isn't it? So if we could get both players, that's fine. One for the future, but we need players now. Yes, I can definitely see. It's probably the stronger argument. Adnan Ali. I missed that there. Semenyo is an animal, power, pace, and skill, and drives attack. He does have that. He absolutely destroyed us when he came to St. James Park. Sophie B, we won't produce the same next season, in my opinion. Miggy type season, in my opinion, for Murphy. Okay. I don't know if Miggy had like a full season. He had a purple patch of 2-3 months though. But I see what you're saying though. Sophie, we can't just take a risk like that. Aaron blow our entire budget on Lamine Yamal. And he still won't come. And an early final one, I agree, Sophie, because he's a known threat. No, good call. I missed that conversation there. But guys, this has been a fantastic show, really. Really record number of people, views and likes and stuff like that. And then the chat has been totally blowing up. You've been absolutely amazing, especially so late in the day. If you're not in the UK, obviously. But we talked about the overall show. We talked about Newcastle as the head of our recruitment. Essentially, he's the manager, but he's also head of recruitment. But we talked about how at the beginning there's been a realignment. We looked at how obviously TalkSport with Simon Jordon talking about how essentially Newcastle have gone through a realignment process. We know also there's a triangle with Eddie Howe, Andy Howe, and Steve Nixon, with a mixture of Eddie Howe giving a template for the type of player he needs, Andy Howe looking for the data that supports that helps us find that player, and with Steve Nixon providing the eye test and his expertise, and all of them working together to track those players. We then looked at Adam Cleary's, and that helped us know where that essentially our recruitment team and everybody that's there are now fully aligned with the direction of the players that we want and that we're looking for. And we looked at Adam Cleary, his overview of Newcastle season, how we adapted, how we became more adaptable, low blocking team, defending against, being able to defend, but also pressing high when we needed to. The tactical change of Tonali coming into the 6, which helped us propel us up the table and had a positive impact throughout the team as well. And essentially how it reduced our injuries, how it increased our goals and assists and got us up the table and winning trophies. And then obviously that brought us to the point of where essentially I think we're going to go back to our original identity of a high pressing, ball playing, high intensity team, and going into this season with an aligned recruitment focus, and where we're looking to head into in terms of our evolution as a team. We're now looking for players that are going to help us do that. We looked at Mbeumo, we looked at Tyler Dibling, Guehi, Trafford, ball playing goalkeeper. All these type of players are going to help us play in that style. And in my point of view, we talked about how Eddie Howe, in my view, is a world-class manager, is now going to be leading the team to kind of get back to that team that we were playing as before, in a high-pressing fashion, with a ball-playing goalkeeper, with ball-playing centre-backs as well. And we did the comparisons between Mbeumo and Dibling. Do we bank on the future now in Dibling, or do we go for a now type of player, plug and play, playing in Mbeumo, who's going to help us hopefully get into Champions Leagues again and win more trophies next season? It's a lot of tension there, but you guys have been absolutely incredible in sharing your views and opinions on that. And you've been absolutely incredible in terms of engaging and the chat and everything else. Been incredible. I haven't made up my mind on Dibling and Mbeumo just yet. But we'll see how it goes. And You guys have been absolutely incredible. As always, make sure you guys, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you stay safe. And as always, folks, as we conclude the show, take care of each other and God bless, folks.